Rain falls like broken glass on the cracked pavement outside the grocery store. Naomi Harris pulls her coat tight around her belly. 8 months pregnant. Her hands shake, clutching a brown paper bag filled with fruit, baby lotion, and prenatal vitamins. She walks slow, careful. Her smile flickers at a child waving from a passing car. Then the shout cuts through the air. "Hey, you!" Officer Derek Holt steps out of his patrol car, hand on his belt. Rain drips from the brim of his hat. His eyes narrow. "You pay for that?" Naomi freezes. "Excuse me?" He takes a step closer. "I said, did you pay for that bag?" Her voice trembles. "Of course I did, sir. You can check the receipt." He snatches it from her hand before she can finish. Crushed paper, torn edges. He doesn't even look. Behind them, people stop. Phones rise. A woman whispers, "Oh God, not again." Naomi's breath catches. "I'm pregnant," she says softly. "I'm just trying to go home." But Derek's face hardens. "Don't move," he growls. "Keep your hands where I can see them." Her knees lock. Fear crawls up her spine. "I'm not doing anything wrong. Don't argue with me," he barks. He grabs her arm, too hard. She stumbles, her bag rips, fruit rolling across the wet street, apples bounce under tires, smashed into pulp. Naomi cries out, clutching her stomach, "Please!" And then it happens. A swift kick, right into her side. Gasps explode around them. Phones flash. The sound of rain drowns the silence. Naomi hits the ground. Her coat spreads like broken wings. A car horn echoes in the distance. Someone screams, "She's pregnant!" Derek's breathing heavy, chest rising. For a moment, even he looks unsure. Then he yells, "Stay back! Everyone stay back!" A teenager keeps filming. His hands shake, but he doesn't stop. Blood mixes with rainwater, curling down the drain. Naomi groans. Her eyes roll toward the cloudy sky. "Please," she whispers. "My baby!" The crowd closes in. A man shouts, "Call an ambulance!" Another woman kneels beside her, covering her with a jacket. Naomi's lips turn pale. Her hand rests on her belly. Derek pulls his radio. "Dispatch, I need..." But the words don't sound human anymore. They sound distant, like echoes in a cave. He looks down. Her eyes are open. They don't blink. The woman beside Naomi shakes her head. "She's losing blood." Derek steps back. His boot leaves a red print on the concrete. He looks around. Dozens of phones pointed at him. Someone mutters, "You're done, man." Sirens wail in the distance. The rain keeps falling. Naomi's voice fades. "Tell Marcus, I love him." A bystander grabs her hand. "Stay with us." But her grip is slipping. The ambulance screeches up. Paramedics rush out, cutting through the circle of people. They lift Naomi onto a stretcher, oxygen mask pressed to her face. The baby monitor beeps weakly, too weak. Derek stands motionless. Rain drips down his neck. The taste of metal fills his mouth. His radio crackles. "Unit 12, report status." He doesn't answer. A young reporter appears, soaked but steady, camera rolling. "Did you know she was pregnant, officer?" Derek doesn't reply. He looks at the flashing red lights reflecting in the puddles, like fire bleeding into the street. The ambulance doors slam. Naomi disappears inside, and for a brief second everything goes silent. Then, the sound of a phone, ping. Someone just uploaded the video. Hat justice. For Naomi, the storm begins. The sirens scream through the storm. Blue and red lights spin across the wet parking lot, bouncing off faces pale with shock. The rain hasn't stopped. It only gets heavier. Naomi lies strapped on the stretcher, barely conscious. Her breaths come short, uneven. The paramedic presses on her wrist for a pulse, eyes flicking to the monitor. "We're losing it," he mutters. The female medic beside him shakes her head. "Come on, sweetheart, stay with me." Her hand rests gently on Naomi's belly. A faint beep breaks the rhythm. The baby's heartbeat. Weak, but still there. "Get her in the truck, now!" They roll the stretcher fast, tires cutting through water. The crowd parts, quiet, stunned. Someone whispers, "That cop! He kicked her." Another voice answers, "I got it all on camera." The words hang in the air like lightning before a strike. Inside the ambulance, Naomi opens her eyes for a second. Everything is blurry. The ceiling light burns her vision. She hears muffled voices, radios, sirens, a prayer whispered near her ear. "Marcus," she breathes. but no one hears her over the chaos. The doors slam shut. The engine roars. They take off, cutting through the flooded streets. Outside, Derek Holt stands in the rain, soaked to the bone. His chest tightens. He stares at his hands, shaking. For a second, he sees the shape of her face reflected in the puddle beneath him. Then someone yells, "Internal Affairs is already calling!" He turns, but the crowd is gone. Only the sound of tires and thunder. The street smells of fear. Inside the ambulance, time stretches. The medic shouts vitals. "Pressure dropping, heart rate unstable." Naomi's eyelids flutter. Her fingers twitch, reaching for something that isn't there. "Tell him. I'm sorry." Her voice is a whisper lost under sirens. The medic squeezes her hand. "You'll tell him yourself." The radio cracks again. Dispatch chatter, overlapping words. Victim, 32-year-old female, 8 months pregnant, possible internal trauma, ETA 4 minutes. The driver nods. "Hold on." The vehicle jerks left, horn blaring as they cut through traffic. Rain lashes against the windshield, lightning flashing white across the dashboard. The medic wipes Naomi's forehead. Her skin is cold, too cold. Then, a small trembling kick. The baby. The medic looks at the monitor. Heart beats back, faint but steady. He exhales, a short laugh of relief. "Don't you quit on me now." At the hospital entrance, floodlights burn through the night. Reporters already wait. Cameras, microphones, questions. The news moves faster than blood. As soon as the ambulance doors open, flashbulbs explode. Was it Officer Holt? Is she alive? Will the department respond? The medics ignore them, pushing Naomi through the glass doors. A security guard tries to block the reporters, but one slips a phone past. Live streaming. Thousands are watching before she even reaches the ER. In a small waiting room nearby, Marcus Harris bursts in through the doors. His clothes are soaked, his face pale. "I'm her husband," he shouts. "Naomi Harris, where is she?" The nurse flinches, then points down the hall. "They're working on her now." He runs, shoes squeaking on the tile. The sound of monitors and beeping fills the air. Doctors crowd around Naomi's bed. Her belly rises and falls under oxygen tubes and wires. "BP dropping! Give me 20 of epinephrine, now!" Marcus presses against the window. He can't go inside. He can only watch. Through the glass, he sees her hand. Limp, still, pale. He whispers, "You promised you'd come home." The door opens. A doctor steps out, removing his gloves. "She's stable for now," he says quietly, "but the baby's heart rate is weak. We're doing everything we can." Marcus nods. His throat burns. "Can I see her?" "Just for a minute." He steps inside. Naomi lies still, machines breathing for her. He touches her hand, cold like marble. He presses his forehead to it. "Hey," he whispers. "It's me. You're gonna be okay." No response. Only the sound of the rain against the hospital windows. Outside in the hallway, a security guard scrolls through his phone. A video plays. The video. Derek's face frozen mid-kick. Thousands of comments flood the screen. "Fire him. Lock him up. Justice for Naomi." He looks at Marcus through the glass, then turns his phone face down. Across town, Officer Holt sits alone in his car. The radio hums static. His hands grip the steering wheel until his knuckles turn white. Every siren he hears feels like it's coming for him. He looks at his reflection in the rearview mirror. For a moment, he doesn't recognize the man staring back. Rain slides down the window like tears. His phone vibrates. A message from his partner. "You're all over the news." He closes his eyes. The city feels smaller, the silence louder. Back at the hospital, Naomi's heart monitor steadies. A faint, steady beep. Her baby moves again. The nurse smiles. She's fighting. Marcus exhales, tears mixing with rainwater on his face. "Yeah," he whispers. "She always does." The storm outside begins to fade. But inside, something far louder has just begun. It starts with one video, 37 seconds long. A pregnant woman. A police boot. A scream that cuts through the sound of rain. By the time the ambulance reaches the hospital, the video already has 50,000 views. By midnight, it's everywhere. News anchors pause mid-broadcast. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, flooded. Clips loop endlessly, each caption louder than the last. "He kicked a pregnant woman. We want justice." Her name is Naomi Harris. The city doesn't sleep. The storm outside becomes the storm inside every home. Screens glow in dark rooms. Families whisper, "How could this happen?" At the hospital, Marcus sits in a plastic chair, phone in hand. He scrolls through the flood of messages. Strangers are praying for Naomi. Others are demanding the officer's arrest. A reporter approaches. "Mr. Harris, can we get a statement?" He looks up, eyes red. "My wife's fighting for her life," he says. "That's the only statement I got." The reporter lowers the mic. The camera keeps rolling. Even grief has become content. Downtown, the precinct buzzes with chaos. Phones ring. Screens flash headlines. "Officer Holt under investigation." Video sparks national outrage. The chief paces behind his desk, face pale. "Tell him to turn in his badge. Effective immediately." An officer hesitates. "Sir, he's not answering his phone." "Then find him." Derek Holt sits alone in his living room. TV muted. His uniform jacket draped over a chair, soaked from the rain. He watches the footage on his phone. His own face, cold, merciless. He doesn't recognize himself. His wife stands in the doorway, arms crossed. "Tell me it's not true." He can't. "I didn't mean to." She cuts him off. "You kicked a pregnant woman, Derek." "What do you mean you didn't mean to?" Her voice cracks. "Get out." He looks up, lost. "Lisa." But she's already gone upstairs. The sound of a door slamming echoes through the house. Midnight. Outside the police station, people gather. Umbrellas, signs, candles. They chant Naomi's name. "Justice for Naomi! Justice for Naomi!" The crowd grows by the minute. Hundreds, then thousands. Their voices shake the night. Camera drones circle overhead. Reporters shout into microphones. A woman in the crowd holds a sign. 24 hours, no arrest, no excuse. A man live streams, voice trembling. "They kicked a pregnant woman. She's in a coma, and the city's pretending it's raining justice." His feed hits 100,000 viewers. Comments pour in. "Fire him now." "Charge him with assault." "Where's the mayor?" The mayor is watching from her office window. She turns to her aide. "Get me the chief of police, tonight." At the hospital, Naomi's room is quiet. Machines hum. Marcus holds her hand. Her skin feels warmer now, her pulse steady. He whispers, "You've got the whole city fighting for you." He looks up at the monitor. The baby's heartbeat, faint but strong. He smiles through tears. "You're not alone anymore." A nurse enters softly. "Sir, I just wanted you to know, there's people outside praying. The parking lot's full." Marcus nods. "Tell them thank you." Outside, a small crowd has gathered near the emergency entrance. They light candles under umbrellas. Someone begins to sing. Low, broken, but beautiful. A child holds a cardboard sign, too big for his hands. "Do better, America." Rain drips from his hood. He doesn't understand everything that happened, but he knows it's wrong. At the same time, Internal Affairs finally tracks Derek down. They knock on his door. He doesn't answer. They find him sitting in the dark, badge on the table. "Officer Holt, you're under suspension pending investigation." He looks up, eyes hollow. "Yeah," he says quietly. "I figured." They escort him out. Neighbors film from their porches. The world that once ignored him now watches his every move. As the car drives away, the street fills with silence. No sirens, no chatter, just the sound of rain and judgment. Back at the hospital, a notification buzzes on Marcus's phone. He opens it. "Officer Holt suspended." He exhales. Not victory, just air. He looks at Naomi again. Her fingers twitch. Her eyelids move. He leans closer. "Naomi?" Her lips part. A whisper barely escapes. "Marcus, the baby." He stands, calling for the nurse. "She's awake!" Doctors rush in. Machines beep faster. Marcus steps back, tears blurring his sight. He grips the wall to steady himself. Outside, the city keeps chanting. Their voices echo through the night. Justice isn't here yet, but something has started moving. The sound of machines fills the room. Steady, mechanical, alive. Naomi's eyes flutter open. The lights blur, then sharpen. She's breathing, barely. Marcus sits beside her, holding her hand tight. Tears run down his face before he even knows they're there. "Hey," he whispers. "You're back." Naomi's lips move slowly. "The baby?" He shakes his head. "They're doing everything they can. You both made it through the night." Her hand slides weakly to her belly. She feels the faint rise, the soft pressure of movement. Relief breaks through her exhaustion. Then, the memories flood back. The rain, The voice. The kick. Her chest tightens. She turns her face away. Marcus leans closer. You don't have to say anything. But she does. Her voice cracks. He looked at me like I wasn't human. He closes his eyes. He'll pay for it. I swear he will. Outside the room, cameras line the hallway. Reporters whisper, trying to get a shot through the window. Security guards form a wall to keep them back. The hospital has become a fortress, every corner guarded, every door watched. Naomi Harris is no longer just a patient. She's the face of a storm. A nurse enters quietly. Mrs. Harris, we need to run a few more tests, just to make sure the baby's okay. Naomi nods. The nurse connects wires, checks monitors, and lowers her voice. The heartbeat's stronger this morning, that's a good sign. She smiles faintly. Thank you. The nurse hesitates before leaving. You've got half the world praying for you, ma'am. Naomi watches her go, the words sinking in like sunlight through water. Marcus steps into the hall. The walls are lined with posters, cameras, flashes, chaos pretending to be order. A young journalist rushes forward. Mr. Harris, how is your wife? He stops. She's alive. That's all that matters right now. Do you think justice will be served? He looks straight into the camera. Justice doesn't need permission, it just needs truth. The clip airs within minutes. By noon, his words are everywhere. They call it the moment the city found its voice. Meanwhile, downtown, the mayor holds a press conference. Her voice trembles beneath the weight of flashing lights. This incident is under full investigation. The officer involved has been suspended without pay. We assure the public there will be accountability. Questions explode like gunfire. Will he be charged? Is this a hate crime? Why did it take so long to respond? She hesitates. Every pause feels like guilt. Across town, Derek Holt sits in an interrogation room. No badge, no gun, just the hum of fluorescent lights and a stack of forms he doesn't understand. The internal affairs officer slides a tablet across the table. The video plays again. The kick, the scream, the silence. Derek looks away. Do you deny this is you? He can't speak. His throat closes. The officer leans forward. Do you understand the gravity of what you've done? Derek whispers, It was a mistake. The officer's jaw tightens. A mistake doesn't trend worldwide. A mistake doesn't put a woman and her child in the ICU. Derek's shoulders slump. His career, his life, unraveling in real time. Back at the hospital, Naomi is sitting upright now. Her eyes trace the light filtering through the blinds. Each breath feels like a victory. Marcus brings her breakfast, but she can barely eat. Her focus drifts to the muted TV mounted on the wall. Her own face appears on screen. Grainy hospital footage, her name in bold letters. Naomi Harris, the woman America is talking about. Her lips part. I never wanted any of this. Marcus looks at her, voice firm. You didn't ask for it, but maybe the world needed it. She turns toward the window. Outside, dozens of people hold candles, signs, and prayers. The street hums with quiet power, the kind that builds before something changes. A nurse rushes in. Her baby's heartbeat just stabilized completely, she says, smiling. Naomi gasps softly, covering her mouth. Marcus grabs her hand. You hear that? Our baby's a fighter. Naomi's tears spill freely now, not from pain but relief. Maybe that's who they'll be, she whispers. A fighter. The nurse nods. Looks like both of you are. Outside, a storm of a different kind brews. Thousands march through the city, signs lifted high, drums, chants, cries. Justice for Naomi, justice for all. News helicopters hover overhead. The streets glow red and blue from police barricades, but no one's leaving. Not tonight. From her hospital bed, Naomi can see the lights flickering through the window. They look like stars being born. She exhales, exhausted but alive. 24 hours, she murmurs. That's all it took for everything to change. Marcus squeezes her hand. It's just beginning. The camera outside pans up to the hospital sign. City General Hospital, Emergency Ward. Below it, thousands of candles flicker like tiny heartbeats. The rain finally stops, but the noise doesn't. Because now, the city is wide awake. Morning light spills through the hospital blinds. Naomi sits upright, a pillow behind her back, monitors still beeping beside the bed. Her hair is tied up loosely. Her eyes are tired but sharp. Marcus stands by the window, phone in hand. Outside, the crowd has doubled overnight. Signs wave in the wind. Justice for Naomi, end police brutality, no more silence. Reporters line the parking lot, news vans crowd the entrance. The world waits for her voice. A nurse walks in. Mrs. Harris, the mayor's office called again. They're asking if you'd like to make a public statement. Naomi exhales. I don't know if I'm ready. Marcus looks at her. Maybe you already are. In the hallway, hospital staff gather around small screens, phones, tablets, TVs, waiting. Everyone knows this isn't just about one woman anymore. It's about a city holding its breath. Naomi adjusts her blanket. Her voice is calm, but the tremor in her hands betrays her fear. If I speak, I want it to mean something, she says softly. Marcus nods. Then tell the truth. That's all you have to do. A camera crew sets up outside her room. Lights, microphones, cables. The hum of anticipation vibrates through the air. The reporter, a young black woman named Elise, steps forward. Mrs. Harris, when you're ready. Naomi looks into the lens. For a moment, she sees herself reflected back, bruised, weary, alive. She begins. My name is Naomi Harris. I'm 32 years old. I'm a mother, a wife, and 2 days ago I almost lost everything. The room goes still. Even the machines seem quieter. I was kicked to the ground by someone who swore an oath to protect me, but I'm not here for revenge. I'm here because no one else should go through what I did. Tears roll down her face. She doesn't wipe them away. I forgive him, she says, voice trembling. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means demanding better. Marcus watches her, chest rising with pride and grief. She continues. I don't hate police officers. My brother is one. But if wearing a badge gives someone the right to destroy lives without consequence, then it's not protection, it's power. And power without accountability is violence. The room stays silent. Elise lowers her mic, eyes glistening. Naomi finishes softly. I just want my baby to grow up in a world where justice isn't something we have to beg for. She stops speaking. The camera light clicks off. The world starts breathing again. Minutes later, the footage hits every screen in the country. Clips flood social media. Her words spread faster than anger. They spread hope. At the precinct, officers watch in silence. Some shift uncomfortably. Others lower their heads. For the first time, the walls feel thinner. Chief Warren stands before his team. This department failed her, he says. We failed ourselves. From this moment, we rebuild. Or we don't deserve these uniforms. A few clap softly. Most just stare. Meanwhile, Derek Holt sits in his holding cell. No badge, no visitors. Only the echo of her voice through the small TV in the corner. I forgive him. The words cut deeper than any sentence could. He grips the edge of the bed, knuckles white. Tears fill his eyes, but he blinks them away. He whispers to himself, She forgave me? After what I did? The guard outside glances at him, but says nothing. Outside, the protests turn into vigils. People kneel in the streets holding candles. Music plays softly from car radios. Even the air feels gentler tonight. A little girl hands Marcus a folded note outside the hospital door. He opens it. Inside, written in blue crayon, For your baby. Tell them they made the world kinder. He smiles. Thank you, sweetheart. The girl runs back to her mother, waving. Marcus looks up at the glowing hospital windows. Naomi's silhouette is visible through the curtain. She's holding her stomach, eyes closed, whispering a prayer only she can hear. Later that night, Elise, the reporter, uploads a short message on her own feed. Naomi Harris didn't just survive. She reset the standard for what strength looks like. Within hours, the clip surpasses 2 million shares. Celebrities repost her speech. Churches ring their bells in her honor. Even rival networks broadcast her words uncut. The city that screamed in anger yesterday now hums with unity. In the hospital's quiet corridors, Naomi finally sleeps. Marcus sits by her bedside, hand resting on hers. Outside, the candlelight flickers across the pavement like stars fallen from the sky. A nurse passes by and whispers to another. Funny how one voice can calm a storm. The other nods. Or start a new one. The right kind. Marcus glances at Naomi. She breathes evenly now. The baby moves beneath her hand. He leans closer, whispers, You did it. You changed everything. The camera pans up to the window. Outside, dawn begins to break. Soft light spills across the city. Not fire, not fury, but healing. The world isn't fixed, but for the first time in a long time, it feels possible. Morning breaks over the city like a deep breath after a storm. The rain is gone, but the air still hums, full of tension, full of change. At the precinct, detectives gather in the main conference room. Files spread across the table, screens flickering with still frames from the video. Officer Derek Holt's name sits in bold letters at the top of every page. Chief Warren stands at the head of the room. Internal Affairs wants everything. Every report, every complaint, every piece of footage, he says. His voice is low, measured, but his eyes burn. A younger officer shifts uneasily. Chief, what happens if the DOJ steps in? They already have, Warren replies. In the corner, Sergeant Miller clicks through body cam files. Footage from months ago plays. Derek shouting at a teenager, shoving a driver during a traffic stop. Pattern after pattern. Anger without cause. Force without restraint. Miller exhales sharply. How did we miss this? Another officer mutters, We didn't, we ignored it. Silence spreads like smoke. Meanwhile, in her hospital room, Naomi watches the same story unfold on the TV. A reporter's voice fills the quiet. Sources confirm that Officer Holt has faced 3 prior complaints for excessive force, all dismissed. Tonight, city officials demand accountability. Naomi turns off the screen. She doesn't need to see his face again. Not yet. Marcus sits beside her, scrolling his phone. They're calling it the Naomi Bill already, he says quietly. A Reform Act proposal. New training, new oversight. Naomi shakes her head. I just want the truth, not another promise. He looks at her. Truth's coming, Naomi, and this time, it's not stopping halfway. Across town, Derek sits in an interrogation room, eyes hollow. 2 investigators from Internal Affairs sit across from him, notebooks open, recorders blinking red. Officer Holt, this isn't your first complaint, one says. Derek doesn't answer. He stares at the metal table. Water stains mark where his hands rest. You've been reprimanded for misconduct before, the other continues. Why were these reports buried? Derek's jaw tightens. I followed orders, he mutters. Whose orders? He hesitates, then, You wouldn't believe me if I told you. The investigator leans forward. Try us. Flashback. 6 months earlier. Derek stands in a police locker room, locker half open. A senior officer, Sergeant Klein, smirks beside him. Don't let the complaints bother you, Klein says. Paperwork doesn't mean guilt. We take care of our own. Derek nods, but his reflection in the mirror already looks uncertain. Still, he mutters, it doesn't feel right. Klein slaps his shoulder. Feelings don't matter. Loyalty does. The scene fades. Back to the interrogation room. Derek blinks, voice low. I was told it would go away. The investigator exchanges a glance with his partner. Not this time. Outside, crowds fill City Hall. Protest signs sway in the morning sun. Fire the system, not just the man. Naomi's voice changed everything. A choir sings softly from the steps, the same song Naomi heard through her hospital window. The mayor addresses the press. We are launching an independent investigation into officer conduct and accountability, she says. No one is above the law, not anymore. The crowd roars. For the first time, the city believes her. Back at the hospital, Naomi walks for the first time since the attack. Each step hurts, but she doesn't stop. The nurse beside her steadies her arm. Take it slow, she says gently. Naomi nods. I need to see outside. They reach the window overlooking the street. Hundreds of people wait below, holding flowers, candles, and signs. She presses her hand to the glass. The world that once looked cruel now feels connected. Marcus joins her, voice quiet. You see that? You started this. Naomi shakes her head. No, pain did. I just refused to hide it. Meanwhile, the news spreads fast. Officer Holt admits systemic cover-up. Internal Affairs uncovers years of ignored complaints. Every headline feels like another brick falling from a collapsing wall. At the precinct, Chief Warren watches the reports with clenched fists. He turns to his deputy. No more silence, he says. Every file, every name. Bring it to light. The deputy hesitates. Even the senior officers? Especially them. That night, Derek is transferred to a holding facility. As he's escorted through the back exit, protesters catch sight of him. Camera flashes blind the hallway. Do you regret it? Someone shouts. He pauses. His eyes flicker, just for a moment, toward the lens. He whispers, almost to himself, Yes. The guard pushes him forward. The doors close behind him. At the hospital, Naomi sits awake under dim lights. She scrolls through her phone, seeing message after message. People sharing her speech, thanking her, promising change. She sets the phone down and whispers, "Then let's make it real." Marcus wraps his arm around her shoulder. "You already have," he says. Outside, the city glows. Candles, screens, streetlights, all pulsing together like one great heartbeat. Justice hasn't finished yet, but it's moving now, and for the first time in years, the city moves with it. The day begins with sirens again, but this time, they don't sound like chaos. They sound like change. At the precinct, Chief Warren steps out of his office, his face carved from stone. He looks tired, but his eyes burn with purpose. Every officer in the room stands at attention. They know something's coming. He clears his throat. This department doesn't belong to fear anymore. Murmurs ripple through the hall. He slams a file onto the table. This is every complaint that's ever been buried. Every report that was ignored. Every badge that used power like a weapon. The room goes still. No one speaks. Warren's voice lowers. "We are turning them in. All of them. Starting with me." The silence breaks like glass. An officer in the back whispers, "Sir, you can't." "Yes, I can," Warren cuts in. "Because leadership isn't about saving yourself. It's about owning the damage you allowed to happen." He looks around. "Now, who's with me?" A few hands rise slowly. Then more. Until almost the whole room stands. For the first time in years, the precinct feels honest. Uncomfortable. But honest. Across town, Naomi sits in her hospital bed watching the live press feed. Her face softens as she sees Chief Warren at the podium, his hands trembling slightly. "I am submitting my resignation, effective immediately," he says. "But before I leave, I'll testify under oath about the cover-ups that happened under my command." Reporters gasp. One shouts, "Chief, why now?" Warren exhales. "Because a woman and her child almost died before we decided to care." Naomi's hand covers her mouth. Marcus steps closer, eyes fixed on the screen. "He's doing it," he whispers. "He's actually doing it." She nods slowly. Maybe it's not just us anymore. At City Hall, the mayor holds an emergency meeting. The air buzzes with urgency. Stacks of files flood the table. Proof, reports, sealed documents from the precinct's past. "We're reopening every dismissed case connected to Officer Holt and his unit," the mayor declares. "No more silence, no more shields." Her aide leans in. "Ma'am, this will shake the city." She nods. "Good. It needs to." Meanwhile, Derek sits alone in a dim holding cell. He hears the news through the thin wall-mounted TV. Chief Warren resigns. Investigations expand. Colleagues turn witnesses. He stares at the screen in disbelief. The world he trusted is collapsing, one confession at a time. For the first time since his arrest, he feels something unfamiliar. Not anger, not shame, regret. He whispers to the empty room, "I thought I was following orders." But no one answers. At the hospital, Naomi's doctor enters quietly. "Good news," she says. "Your vitals are strong. The baby's developing perfectly. You'll both be able to go home soon." Naomi smiles faintly. Home. The word sounds distant, almost fragile, but real. Marcus laughs softly. "Finally." She reaches for his hand. "Home sounds nice." The doctor hesitates before leaving. "Just so you know, the hospital board's dedicating the new maternity wing in your name." Naomi's eyes widen. "What?" "They said your story reminded them what compassion means." Marcus grins. "Guess you made an impression." Naomi shakes her head, smiling through tears. "I just told the truth." Back at the precinct, boxes line the hallway. Officers pack their desks, some resigned, others suspended. The air smells of old paper and guilt. Chief Warren stands in his empty office one last time. He stares at a framed photo on the wall. His first day as chief, surrounded by proud faces. He whispers, "We were supposed to protect them." He removes the photo, slides it into a box, and walks out. As he steps into the sunlight, cameras flash. Reporters call his name. Chief Warren, any final words?" He stops, turns to face them. "Yeah," he says. "Justice doesn't start in a courtroom. It starts the moment someone decides to stop lying." The crowd goes silent. Then, applause. That night, the city glows with something new. Not anger, resolve. The streets still hum with chants and candles, but the air feels lighter. Naomi lies awake, her hand on her stomach, listening to the soft heartbeat of her child through the monitor. Marcus sits nearby, scrolling his phone. He shows her a post, Chief Warren's final speech trending everywhere. Caption: he gave up his title for the truth. Naomi smiles. Her voice is soft. Maybe that's what justice really is. Not punishment, transformation. Marcus nods. And it started with you. She looks out the window, watching the city lights pulse like stars. No, she says quietly. It started with everyone who finally decided to see. Across the skyline, bells ring from a downtown church, a symbolic hour. The hour a city began to rebuild its soul. And somewhere in a quiet cell, Derek Holt closes his eyes. Not as an officer, not as a victim of his own choices, but as a man beginning to understand the cost of silence. The screen fades to black. The sound of Naomi's baby's heartbeat echoes faintly, steady, hopeful, alive. The morning news hits like thunder. Officer Derek Holt to face criminal charges. Every channel, every phone, every voice repeats the same headline. Naomi wakes to the sound of it on the hospital TV. The screen glows pale blue across her face. She turns the volume up. The anchor's voice is calm but electric. The district attorney's office has officially filed charges of aggravated assault and misconduct against former officer Derek Holt. The case will go to trial in 2 weeks. Marcus steps in carrying coffee. He freezes when he hears it. It's happening, he says quietly. Naomi exhales. It's finally happening. Across town, the courthouse is already surrounded by news vans. Microphones, cameras, flashing lights. People hold signs that read, "No one above the law." Justice for Naomi. The DA, Elaine Porter, steps up to the podium. She's calm, steady, her gray suit soaked with early rain. This city deserves transparency, she begins. We will present evidence, testimony, and proof of systemic negligence that allowed this tragedy to occur. A reporter asks, "Do you believe the jury will convict?" Porter answers without hesitation. "I believe the truth will." At the same moment, in a dim detention center, Derek Holt sits on the edge of his cot. A guard knocks on the door. "Your lawyer's here." Derek stands, slow, heavy. The attorney, a middle-aged man in a navy suit, sets down a folder. "They're going for maximum sentencing," he says flatly. Derek's jaw tightens. "How long?" 20 years, maybe more. Derek looks down. His fingers dig into his palms. He whispers, "I didn't mean to." The lawyer cuts him off. Meaning doesn't erase what people saw. The air feels suffocating. The truth, heavier than the walls themselves. At the hospital, Naomi takes her first steps outside in a wheelchair. The nurse wheels her into the courtyard, where the press waits at a respectful distance. Cameras flash, questions fly, but she doesn't speak. Not yet. Marcus stands beside her, protective but proud. She tilts her face to the sky, feeling sunlight for the first time since the rain. "I forgot what warmth felt like," she says softly. Marcus smiles. "You brought it back." Meanwhile, on every screen in the city, interviews air. Experts debate, lawyers analyze, protesters chant. Supporters donate to Naomi's Fund for Justice Reform, money pouring in from across the country. But not everyone is cheering. Some accuse the media of exploiting the story. Others call it political. The city divides between those who want justice and those afraid of what it will expose. At City Hall, the mayor meets with Chief Warren, now retired but still a voice the public trusts. She says, "This trial could tear the city apart." Warren shakes his head. "Or put it back together. Sometimes you've got to break the old bones to let them heal right." Late afternoon. Naomi returns to her room. She turns on the TV again. A live press conference from the DA's office. Elaine Porter speaks directly to the camera. Her words sharp, deliberate. "The victim will testify in court. Mrs. Harris has agreed to appear as a key witness." Naomi freezes. Marcus looks at her. "You sure you're ready for that?" She stares at the screen, voice barely a whisper. "If I don't, who will?" Across town, Derek watches the same announcement from his cell. His lawyer sighs. "They'll put her on the stand. The jury will see her, hear her, and that's it. Game over." Derek rubs his temples. "I'll take a plea." The lawyer shakes his head. "They won't offer one, not after this." Derek leans back against the wall. His breath comes shallow. He imagines her face, not from the video, but the hospital footage. Pale, trembling, forgiving. "She said she forgave me," he murmurs. The lawyer frowns. That doesn't mean you're innocent. I know. He looks up. It means I have to face her. The city buzzes into night. Headlines scroll across buildings, podcasts, news specials, hashtags, all orbiting one word: justice. At the hospital, Naomi can't sleep. She watches the city lights through the window. Her reflection overlaps with the skyline, fragile but fierce. She whispers, "You hear that, baby? That's the sound of change." Marcus, half asleep in the chair beside her, opens one eye. "You're gonna stand in court and change the world, huh?" She smiles faintly. "No, I'm just gonna tell them what it feels like to survive." He reaches for her hand. "You don't owe them anything." "I know," she says softly, "but I owe it to every woman who never got to speak." The next morning, the DA's office releases a statement. Trial date set, Monday, 9 o'clock a.m. Within minutes, it trends worldwide. The city braces itself. The courthouse prepares for history. In her hospital room, Naomi's nurse turns off the light and whispers, "Try to rest. Tomorrow's another fight." Naomi closes her eyes. Her hand rests on her belly. The faint rhythm beneath her palm beats like a drum. The storm began with a single kick, but now it's marching toward justice, and there's no stopping it. The courthouse stands like a monument of tension: gray stone, iron doors, endless cameras flashing against the morning light. Lines of police form barriers, but the crowd pushes closer. "Justice for Naomi!" they chant. Their voices echo through downtown. Inside, every hallway hums. Reporters whisper. Officials rush. History feels like it's holding its breath. Naomi arrives in a black car. Marcus steps out first, scanning the crowd, shielding her from the lights. When she finally steps out, silence falls. Flashbulbs freeze her face in time. Strong, fragile, unforgettable. A reporter shouts, "Mrs. Harris, do you have any words for the city?" She pauses at the courthouse steps. Her hand rests on her stomach. "I just want the truth," she says quietly, and then she walks inside. In the courtroom, everything smells of old wood and nerves. The judge sits high, eyes stern. Rows of people fill the benches. Journalists, activists, strangers. The air feels thick, electric. Derek sits at the defense table in a gray suit. No badge, no confidence, just silence. When Naomi enters, he looks up. Their eyes meet for the first time since that day. Neither speaks, but the world seems to stop between them. The prosecutor, Elaine Porter, rises. "Your Honor, the state is ready." The defense attorney nods stiffly. "The defense is also ready." The judge adjusts his glasses. "Proceed." Elaine begins her opening statement. 2 weeks ago, this city watched a tragedy unfold in real time. A woman, 8 months pregnant, was assaulted by a man sworn to protect her. She gestures toward Naomi. She is not just a victim, she is a survivor. And today, she's here to make sure no one ever feels that helpless again. The courtroom stays silent. No one even shifts in their seat. Elaine continues, voice steady but sharp. "The evidence will show not only the crime itself, but the years of ignored warnings that led to it. We are not just putting one man on trial. We are putting an entire system under the light." She sits down. Applause tries to rise from the gallery, but the judge's gavel stops it. The defense lawyer stands next. "Ladies and gentlemen, what happened was tragic. But it was also a mistake made in chaos, not hatred." He paces slowly. "My client reacted to a misunderstanding, a false report of theft. He had seconds to decide, and he chose wrong." His voice drops low. "We ask that you see the man, not the monster the internet made him." Naomi watches, unmoving. Her fingers dig into the armrest of her chair. Marcus whispers, "Breathe." Then, the first video plays. The courtroom darkens as the projector hums. The footage fills the screen. Rain, shouting, fear. And then, the kick. Gasps ripple through the room. Some people cover their mouths. Naomi closes her eyes. She's back there again. The cold pavement, the sound of thunder, the pain. Elaine turns toward the jury. "This," she says, voice breaking the silence, "is what happens when power goes unchecked." When the lights come back on, Derek looks down. He can't meet anyone's eyes. Even his lawyer seems shaken. The judge calls for recess. Naomi stands slowly. Her legs tremble, but Marcus steadies her. Outside the courtroom doors, cameras swarm again. Reporters shout questions, microphones rising like a forest of noise. Naomi, what was it like seeing the video again? She stops. Her voice is steady but soft. It hurt, but the truth always hurts before it heals. Meanwhile, in the judge's chambers, Elaine Porter sits alone for a moment. She looks out the window at the crowd chanting outside. Justice doesn't come easy, she thinks, but today it feels possible. She takes a deep breath and walks back out. Back in the courtroom, the next witness takes the stand. A teenager who filmed the incident. He clutches his phone nervously, voice shaking. I didn't think anyone would believe me unless I showed them. Elaine nods. And you did. He nods back, eyes wet. I just wanted someone to see her as human. Naomi watches him, tears sliding down her cheeks. That one sentence hits harder than the whole case. Across the aisle, Derek stares straight ahead. His lawyer leans over. Don't react. Don't look emotional. But he can't help it. His eyes glisten. For the first time, guilt looks real. He whispers, she could have died. The lawyer whispers back, don't talk. The cameras zoom in. Every twitch of his face becomes evidence. Outside, the crowd grows restless. Screens display live updates. Every cafe, every home, every phone glows with the same image. Naomi on the witness bench, hands folded, head high. The city has stopped to watch one woman's silence. As court adjourns for the day, Naomi steps outside again. The setting sun paints the courthouse gold. She faces the crowd. No speech this time, just a look. A quiet nod that says we're still fighting. The people cheer anyway. Candles light again. The city breathes as one. That night, back at the hospital, Naomi tucks a hand over her stomach. The baby kicks gently. Marcus smiles. Guess they felt the moment too. Naomi laughs softly. Maybe they're reminding us. This isn't over yet. The rain starts again, gentle this time, tapping on the window like applause. Outside, the courthouse lights stay on through the night, because justice doesn't sleep. The courtroom is silent, the kind of silence that hums in your bones. Naomi Harris takes the stand. Every camera turns toward her. She places her hand on the Bible, voice trembling. I swear to tell the truth, she says. Then she looks up. Not at the jury, not at the lawyers, but at Derek. He's sitting only a few feet away. His hands folded, his eyes lowered. He can't meet her gaze. Elaine Porter steps forward. Mrs. Harris, she says gently, can you tell the court what happened that day? Naomi exhales slowly. The sound of her breath fills the entire room. It was raining, she begins. I remember because I kept telling myself to be careful. I was 8 months pregnant, just running errands. I went to buy baby lotion and fruit. I paid. I smiled at the cashier. I walked out. She pauses, swallowing. Then I heard him. Her voice cracks. I turned around and saw Officer Holt. He looked angry, like I'd already done something wrong. She looks down at her hands. He asked if I paid. I told him I did. He didn't believe me. A tear slips down her cheek. I tried to show him the receipt. He tore it. He didn't even look at it. The courtroom stays still. Even the judge's pen stops moving. Naomi continues, voice trembling but steady. He grabbed my arm, hard. The bag ripped. My fruit rolled into the street. I told him I was pregnant. I begged him to stop. Her eyes rise slowly toward Derek. But he didn't. Gasps ripple through the benches. The weight of her words crushes the room. Elaine's voice softens. And then? Naomi closes her eyes. I remember falling. I remember the sound, not just the pain, but the sound of my body hitting the ground. Her hand moves to her stomach unconsciously. Then I remember nothing except someone screaming, she's pregnant, and the rain getting louder. She stops, breathing hard. Marcus, sitting behind her, clenches his fists, holding back tears. I woke up in the hospital, Naomi says quietly. They told me I almost lost my baby, and I just kept asking, why? Elaine nods slowly. Why do you think it happened, Mrs. Harris? Naomi looks straight at the jury now. Because he didn't see a woman. He saw a threat. He didn't see a mother. He saw a stereotype. The room holds its breath. Cameras zoom in, recording every tremor in her voice. Elaine takes a step back. No further questions, Your Honor. The judge nods. Defense may cross-examine. Derek's lawyer stands, adjusting his tie. Mrs. Harris, he begins, I know this is difficult, but can you confirm that Officer Holt never used any racial language toward you that day? Naomi tilts her head slightly. No, she says. He didn't need to. The lawyer blinks. Excuse me? She continues. Sometimes hate doesn't use words. It uses silence. It uses force. It uses the look in someone's eyes when they decide what you are before you even speak. The lawyer opens his mouth, then closes it. He has nothing left to ask. The judge clears his throat. Thank you, Mrs. Harris. You may step down. Naomi stands slowly. Her knees shake, but she doesn't fall. As she walks past Derek, he finally looks up. For a split second, their eyes meet. The man who kicked her now looks small, broken, haunted. Naomi stops beside him. Her voice is soft, almost a whisper. I forgave you, but forgiveness doesn't erase truth. Derek swallows hard. He can't speak. He can barely breathe. She walks out of the courtroom, head high. Outside, the crowd erupts. They chant her name as she steps onto the courthouse steps. Naomi! 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 Reporters rush forward, but she doesn't speak. Marcus puts his arm around her shoulders. She just looks at the sea of faces, people crying, shouting, holding signs. One woman in the front whispers, "You spoke for all of us." Naomi smiles faintly. "I just told the truth," she says. Her voice is steady now. Inside the courthouse, Derek stays seated long after everyone leaves. His lawyer says something, but he doesn't hear it. He keeps replaying her words in his head. Forgiveness doesn't erase truth. The sound of the gavel still echoes in the empty room. He looks at his reflection in the polished table. For the first time, he doesn't see an officer. He sees what he became. That night, Naomi lies in her hospital bed, exhausted but lighter. Marcus sits beside her, scrolling through headlines. Her testimony is everywhere. Clips, quotes, reactions, her face on every screen. Naomi Harris breaks silence in court, the caption reads. Underneath, forgiveness isn't weakness, it's proof of strength. Marcus leans forward. You did it. Naomi shakes her head gently. No, we did. She looks out the window. The city lights shimmer through the night rain. 1,000 reflections of hope. Her baby kicks. She smiles. Maybe the world her child will grow up in won't be perfect, but tonight, it feels closer. The next morning, the courthouse feels different, quieter, heavier. Yesterday was Naomi's voice. Today belongs to Derek Holt. Inside the courtroom, reporters line the aisles again. The crowd waits, restless. Outside, protesters chant in the cold morning air. Justice doesn't sleep. The judge enters. All rise. Everyone stands. Naomi sits in the first row beside Marcus, her hands folded around her stomach. The baby kicks once, a reminder that life still beats through the noise. The defense attorney stands. Your Honor, the defense would like to call our first witness. The judge nods. Proceed. He turns toward the defendant's table. Officer Derek Holt. All eyes shift. Derek stands slowly. His suit looks too big for him now. He walks to the stand like a man walking to the edge of his own reflection. He places his hand on the Bible. I swear to tell the truth. The courtroom holds its breath. The defense attorney begins softly. Mr. Holt, what was going through your mind that day? Derek looks down. His voice is low, uncertain. I thought she was stealing. Why? He hesitates. Because she fit the description. Elaine Porter, the prosecutor, folds her arms. Her eyes burn through him. Whose description? The attorney presses. A call came in, Derek says. A pregnant woman matching her clothing had been shoplifting earlier. A murmur spreads through the room. Elaine rises. Objection, that report was proven false. Sustained, the judge says firmly. Derek swallows. I didn't know that then. The lawyer steps closer. So, what happened when you confronted her? Derek's jaw tightens. She didn't listen. He pauses. Or maybe I didn't. He looks toward Naomi. Her eyes are calm, unreadable. I asked for proof, he continues. She tried to hand me a receipt. I tore it. I shouldn't have. His voice cracks slightly. I lost control. The lawyer nods. Did you know she was pregnant? I did, Derek says softly. The crowd gasps. He looks down again. I knew. She told me. Naomi's hands tighten around her belly. Elaine leans forward. Then why did you kick her? The defense attorney tries to intervene, but the judge nods. Answer the question. Derek exhales. I don't know. It was instinct. I thought she was reaching for something. Elaine's voice cuts through the silence. You mean you thought she was reaching for a weapon? He nods slowly. Yes. She takes a step closer. Or did you just see fear in her eyes and decide it looked dangerous? Derek can't answer. The silence stretches. His lips tremble. I was wrong, he finally says. I was wrong and I can't take it back. Elaine studies him. Do you regret what you did? Yes. The word barely escapes him. She doesn't blink. Why? He looks up at Naomi for the first time. Because she looked at me like I mattered, even after everything, and now I can't look at myself the same way again. The room stays frozen. Even the guards stop shifting. Elaine speaks softly. That's not regret, officer. That's awakening. And it came too late. The defense attorney clears his throat. No further questions. The judge dismisses the witness. Mr. Holt, you may step down. Derek stands, his movements slow, drained. He walks back to the table, every step echoing like guilt. Elaine gathers her files, her tone calm but firm. The state rests its case. The judge nods. Court will recess until closing statements tomorrow morning. The gavel falls. The sound is final, a punctuation to years of silence. Outside, the air is sharp, alive with tension. Cameras flash as Naomi exits with Marcus. A reporter yells, "Do you believe his apology?" She stops, turning toward the sea of microphones. Her eyes glisten, but her voice is steady. Apology isn't justice. Justice is learning so no one else has to be sorry. The crowd erupts in cheers. Some cry. Some chant her words. Across the street, Derek watches from the window of a police van as they escort him back to the holding facility. Her words echo in his mind. Justice is learning so no one else has to be sorry. He stares at his hands, the same hands that once held authority, now shackled by consequence. In the seat beside him, a young officer drives in silence. He glances at Derek in the mirror. Was it worth it? He asks quietly. Derek doesn't answer. He stares out the window at the passing city, the candles, the signs, the people who used to trust him. No, he whispers finally. It never was. That night, the courthouse glows under floodlights. The city doesn't rest. People camp outside with candles and posters, waiting for tomorrow, waiting for closure. Naomi sits by the hospital window, her reflection soft against the glass. The baby kicks again, a steady rhythm beneath her hand. Marcus whispers, "One more day." She nods. One more day, and the world will see what change looks like. Outside, thunder rolls in the distance, quiet, slow, inevitable. Tomorrow will decide everything. The sun rises cold and gray over the courthouse. Crowds have been here all night, wrapped in blankets, holding candles, waiting. The trial ends today. Naomi and Marcus arrive through a side entrance, escorted by security. Her steps are slower now, careful, steady. Inside, the building hums with tension. Every light, every whisper feels heavier than before. The courtroom fills quickly. Reporters squeeze into every corner. A hush settles as the judge enters. All rise. Everyone stands. Naomi exhales quietly. Her hand rests on her stomach. The baby kicks once, like it knows what's coming. They all sit. The judge clears his throat. After reviewing testimony, evidence, and witness statements, the jury has reached a verdict. Every heartbeat in the room seems to stop. The bailiff opens the door. 12 jurors walk in. Their faces are unreadable. The foreman stands, paper trembling slightly in his hand. Your Honor, he says, voice rough, we, the jury, find the defendant. A pause. The world holds its breath. Guilty on all counts. Gasps ripple through the courtroom. Then silence. Real silence. The kind that comes after something sacred. Derek closes his eyes. His hands shake. He nods once, almost as if he agrees. Naomi doesn't move. A single tear falls down her cheek. Marcus squeezes her hand, whispering, "It's over." But she knows it isn't. Not really. The judge speaks. Officer Derek Holt, you are hereby convicted of aggravated assault and misconduct under color of authority. Sentencing will occur next month. He sets his papers down. His voice softens. Let this court remember. Justice is not vengeance. It is balance. The gavel strikes. One sound. Sharp. Final. Outside, the city explodes with noise. Cheers, cries, applause. People hug strangers. Candles lift into the air like tiny suns. News anchors fight to keep their voices steady. Breaking. Former officer found guilty. Naomi Harris case sets national precedent. Hashtags flood every screen again. Hatch justice. For Naomi, heart change begins. Here, end the silence. Inside the courtroom, Derek is escorted away in cuffs. He doesn't resist. As he passes Naomi, he stops. The guards hesitate but allow a second. He turns to her. His voice cracks. I don't expect forgiveness. Naomi looks at him calmly. Her tone is gentle but unshaken. You already have it. Now learn what to do with it. He nods. No words left. Only the sound of chains against the floor as he's led away. Outside, Naomi steps into the sunlight. Reporters surround her instantly. Naomi, how do you feel? Do you think justice was served? She pauses on the courthouse steps, the same place she stood days ago. The wind lifts her hair. The city waits. I don't know if justice ever feels complete, she says softly. But today, truth spoke louder than fear. The crowd erupts. People cheer, cry, shout her name. She raises a hand, not to silence them, but to steady herself. I'm not here as a symbol, she continues. I'm just a woman who survived something I never should have faced. And if my voice helped even one person stand up, then that's enough. She steps down the stairs, Marcus beside her. The baby kicks again. Her smile flickers through tears. Later that afternoon, Naomi returns to the hospital for her final checkup. The halls feel lighter this time. Nurses smile as she passes. Someone whispers, "That's her." Her doctor meets her with a grin. "Your baby's perfect, Naomi. Strong heartbeat, steady growth. You can go home." Naomi laughs softly. Home, she repeats. The word feels new again. Safe, possible. Marcus places his hand over hers. We made it, he says. She shakes her head. No, we're making it. Still. As evening falls, Naomi sits by the window, holding a small notebook in her lap. She writes a single sentence. Justice begins where fear ends. She closes it gently. Outside, she can hear people still chanting in the distance, not in anger, but unity. She whispers to the baby, "They heard us. You changed everything, little one." Marcus turns on the TV. The screen shows a montage, the protests, the court, Naomi's words. Then an image of Derek being led away, face calm, almost peaceful. The anchor says, "Today, a city didn't just witness justice, it participated in it." Naomi leans her head against Marcus's shoulder. For the first time in weeks, she feels still. In a quiet prison cell, Derek sits alone. The echo of the gavel rings in his mind. He stares at his hands again. No badge, no weapon, only time. He closes his eyes, whispering to himself, "She forgave me. I'll spend the rest of my life learning why." Outside his window, a faint hum of the city drifts in. The same city he once patrolled. The same city he broke, now learning to heal. Back at the hospital, Naomi switches off the light. The room goes quiet, except for one sound, the steady, rhythmic heartbeat of her unborn child. The world may never be perfect, but tonight, for the first time, it feels fair. It's been 30 days since the verdict. The city hasn't stopped talking. Every newspaper, every headline still echoes the same name, Naomi Harris. Outside the courthouse, the crowd gathers again. Some hold candles, others hold signs. Justice isn't over. Let this be the start. Inside, the air feels heavier than before. Today isn't about guilt. It's about consequence. Derek Holt sits at the defendant's table. His hair is shorter, his face pale. No arrogance, no defense left. Just a man waiting to hear his fate. Naomi sits quietly in the front row, hands folded over her stomach. Marcus beside her, whispering, "You don't have to be here." She answers softly, "I do." Her eyes stay fixed on the judge. All rise. Everyone stands. Judge Whitmore enters, his black robe trailing like gravity itself. He takes his seat, adjusts his glasses, and clears his throat. "Mr. Holt," he begins, "you have been found guilty of aggravated assault and abuse of authority. You've taken responsibility. You've expressed remorse, but remorse does not erase what was done." He looks toward Naomi. The victim's courage has reminded this court what accountability looks like. He turns back to Derek. "For your actions, this court sentences you to 15 years in state prison with eligibility for parole after 10. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Some expected life. Some wanted more. But silence quickly follows. Derek nods slowly. He doesn't fight it. He doesn't cry. He just whispers, "Thank you." The judge blinks. "For what?" Derek looks down. "For not letting me walk away from myself." Naomi exhales. The sound is quiet, almost a prayer. Marcus squeezes her hand. "It's done," he says softly, but Naomi shakes her head. "It's never done. It just changes shape." She watches as two guards cuff Derek. For a brief moment, he looks at her. No words, just a silent acknowledgement of pain, of guilt, of something deeper. Outside, the media rushes forward. Cameras flash, microphones rise. "Naomi, how do you feel about the sentence? Do you think it's fair?" She pauses at the courthouse steps, the same steps where she once stood bruised and afraid. Now she stands taller. "I didn't come here for revenge," she says. "I came here for responsibility, and today, I think we all learned what that looks like." A reporter shouts, "What happens now?" Naomi smiles faintly. "Now we rebuild." That evening, the city feels quieter. The chants fade into tired whispers. Candle wax pools on the streets like melted hope. Naomi walks home with Marcus, hand in hand. Her belly is bigger now. She laughs suddenly, surprising even herself. "It's strange," she says. "I thought I'd feel free, but I just feel heavy." Marcus glances at her. "You've carried the whole city for a month. You're allowed to feel heavy." She nods. "Maybe now I can finally carry just one person again." She looks down at her belly and smiles. In his prison cell, Derek writes, not to the judge, not to the press, to Naomi. The letter is simple. "You don't owe me forgiveness, but you gave it anyway. I'll spend every day trying to be the kind of man who deserved it." He folds the letter carefully, sealing it with hands that once broke more than rules. Outside his window, the sun dips behind barbed wire. A single bird lands on the fence. Freedom, just out of reach, but visible. He watches until it flies away. Meanwhile, Naomi attends a small community meeting downtown. A local pastor invites her to speak. The room is filled with mothers, teachers, students, people who followed her story since day one. She hesitates, holding the microphone loosely. "I don't know what makes someone brave," she says. "I didn't plan to become a symbol. I just wanted to survive." The crowd listens, quiet and moved. "But maybe that's what bravery is," she continues. "Surviving, and then using that survival to help someone else." Applause rises slowly, then fills the room. Naomi smiles through tears. Her voice lowers. "My child will be born into a world that's watching itself a little closer now, and that's something worth fighting for." After the meeting, she steps outside into the cool night air. The sky is wide, soft with stars. Marcus wraps his arm around her shoulders. "You did good," he says. She leans into him. "We did." They walk in silence for a while. A car passes, playing the news report. Her story again, her voice echoing faintly. Naomi laughs gently. "I wonder when they'll stop saying my name?" Marcus smiles. "Maybe they shouldn't. Maybe they need to remember." Naomi looks ahead, eyes shining in the streetlight. "Then let them remember why." Back at the hospital, she sits in her room one last time. Her due date is close now. She writes another note in her journal. Justice isn't about punishment. It's about teaching the world how to heal. She closes the book, rests her hand over her heart, and listens to the faint rhythm of her baby's heartbeat. Outside, the city hums, not with anger this time, but with something new. Patience. The hospital lights hum softly. It's late, the kind of late where the world feels half asleep. Naomi lies in the delivery room, breathing slow and steady. Her hands grip the rails. Marcus stands beside her, eyes wide, voice calm but breaking. "You're doing great," he whispers. "You've got this." Sweat glistens on her forehead. The nurse checks the monitor. "Almost there," she says gently. "Just one more push." Naomi closes her eyes. Flashes of the past month flood her mind, the courtroom, the crowds, the rain, the kick, the pain, the silence that followed. Then she exhales, pushing through all of it. And suddenly there's a sound. A cry. High, sharp, alive. The nurse smiles. "It's a girl." Marcus laughs through tears. Naomi's body trembles, her eyes open slowly. The nurse places a tiny bundle on her chest. Naomi stares down, breath caught between disbelief and awe. The baby's skin is warm, her fingers curl around Naomi's thumb. "Hey there, little fighter," Naomi whispers. The baby calms instantly. as if she recognizes the voice that carried her through chaos. Marcus bends down, kissing both of them. "We did it," he murmurs. Naomi smiles weakly. "No," she says softly. "She did." Hours later, the hospital room is quiet. Outside, dawn begins to break. Light seeps through the blinds like forgiveness. Marcus sits by the window, watching the sky shift from gray to gold. He looks back at Naomi, sleeping now, the baby resting against her chest. He takes a picture. Not for the world, just for them. The television hums in the background. A news anchor's voice fills the silence. In today's headlines, Naomi Harris, the woman whose story changed the nation, welcomed a healthy baby girl early this morning. Marcus turns the volume down. He smiles to himself. "They still won't leave you alone," he whispers. Naomi stirs but doesn't wake. The baby lets out a soft sigh, tiny and peaceful. Outside the hospital, people have gathered again. Not in protest this time, but in celebration. They hold candles, flowers, handwritten notes. A banner stretches across the entrance. "Welcome, baby Hope." A nurse opens the window blinds and gasps. "Naomi," she says softly, "you should see this." Naomi blinks awake. "What is it?" The nurse smiles. "The city's waiting to meet your daughter." Naomi sits up slowly, holding the baby close. She peers outside. Hundreds of people, cheering, waving, crying. Tears fill her eyes. "They named her already?" Marcus chuckles. "Guess you're not the only one who believes in miracles." Naomi looks down at the child. "Hope," she whispers. "It fits." Meanwhile, across the state prison yard, Derek Holt sits in the chapel. He's alone, except for a chaplain sweeping quietly near the door. He holds a small radio, volume low. A reporter's voice plays faintly. "Naomi Harris has given birth to a healthy baby girl this morning. Sources confirm she named her Hope." Derek closes his eyes. A tear slips down his face before he can stop it. He whispers, "Good. The world could use more of that." The chaplain glances at him. "You okay, son?" Derek nods. "Yeah, for the first time, I think I am." He sets the radio down, staring at the sunlight cutting through the stained glass window. It paints the floor in colors, red, blue, gold. He stares at the light as if it's the first honest thing he's seen in years. Back in the hospital, Naomi sits in a chair by the window, rocking gently. The baby sleeps in her arms, small breaths rising and falling like waves. Marcus brings coffee, still warm. "She's already famous," he says with a grin. Naomi laughs softly. "Let's hope she doesn't need to be." They sit in silence for a moment. Outside, the city moves slowly. People heading to work, kids laughing, sirens fading in the distance. It feels different now, like the world's exhaling. A nurse enters quietly. "Visitors," she says. Naomi frowns. "Who?" The door opens. Chief Warren steps in, dressed in plain clothes, a small bouquet in his hand. "Congratulations," he says softly. Naomi's eyes widen. "Chief, I thought you retired." "I did," he smiles. "But I couldn't stay away without saying thank you. You reminded us what this badge should mean." He looks down at the baby. "She's beautiful." Naomi nods. "She's proof that something good can still grow out of something broken." Warren places the flowers on the table. "I'm starting a new program. Community training for officers, built around your case. It'll be named after her." Naomi looks up, stunned. "You're naming it after Hope?" He nods. "Because that's what she gave us back." After he leaves, Naomi sits quietly, holding her daughter tighter. Marcus whispers, "You changed everything, you know." Naomi smiles faintly. "I didn't change the world, Marcus. I just showed it what it already was. Good people trying to do better." She looks out the window again, the city glowing in the morning light. Maybe that's all we ever needed to be. The baby stirs, a tiny yawn escaping her lips. Naomi kisses her forehead. "Welcome to the world, Hope," she whispers. "It's not perfect, but it's yours." Outside, the city bells ring, one by one, soft, steady, alive. 3 weeks have passed since the birth. The city's noise has softened. Naomi's life finally feels quiet again. Quiet but not empty. She sits by the window, baby Hope asleep in her arms. The afternoon light spills across the room, warm and golden. Marcus is out getting groceries. For the first time in months, she's alone. A knock breaks the silence. Soft, hesitant. Naomi frowns. "Come in." A nurse steps in holding a small brown envelope. "There's a letter for you, Mrs. Harris." Naomi tilts her head. "From who?" The nurse hesitates. "It came from the state prison." The words freeze in the air. Naomi's breath catches. Her fingers tighten on the baby's blanket. She takes the envelope slowly. Her name is written in uneven handwriting. To Naomi Harris. She waits until the nurse leaves. Then she sits at the table, staring at the letter for a long time. The paper smells faintly of pencil and dust. She unfolds it carefully. The writing is messy, but every word deliberate. "Naomi, I don't know how to start this. I've written this letter 10 times, torn it up 9. This one stayed, because it feels like the truth, and the truth is all I have left." Naomi's hands tremble slightly as she reads. "I think about that day every night, the sound of the rain, the crowd, your voice, and the moment after I kicked you, the silence. It never left me. You said something in court. You said forgiveness doesn't erase truth. I didn't understand then. I do now. I can't undo what I did, but I can choose what kind of man I am after it." Her eyes blur with tears. She pauses, looks over at baby Hope, still sleeping peacefully. She keeps reading. "They let me work in the prison library. Every day I read stories about people who hurt others and learn to help again. I don't know if I'll ever deserve that chance, but I'm trying. I'm mentoring new inmates, men who came here angry, broken, the same way I did. When I see their rage, I see myself. When I see their fear, I see you. You made me see people again. Not just suspects, not enemies, people." Naomi presses her hand over her mouth. A tear drops onto the paper, smudging the ink slightly. "I heard about your baby. Hope. That's a good name. I don't know if I have the right to say this, but thank you for giving the city something better than hate. I wish the world could meet her. Maybe one day, when she's old enough, she'll read this too. And maybe she'll know that even the worst parts of us can be rewritten. Derek." The room feels still after she finishes. The letter trembles in her hands. For a moment, she doesn't know what to feel. Anger, pity, peace, maybe all of them at once. She stands and walks to the window. The city glows beneath the setting sun. People cross streets. Cars hum. Life continues, unbothered, unbroken. She looks down at her daughter. "You'll never know him," she whispers, "but you'll live in a world he helped change." Hope stirs, making a tiny noise, half a laugh, half a sigh. Naomi smiles faintly. That night, Marcus returns. He finds Naomi sitting at the table, the letter beside her, her eyes distant but calm. "What's that?" he asks gently. "From him," she says. Marcus freezes. "You read it?" She nods. "Yeah." He waits for anger, but it doesn't come. Instead, she just looks lighter. "What did he say?" Naomi folds the paper neatly. "That he's learning." Marcus exhales. "And you?" She looks out the window. "I think I'm learning too." The next morning, Naomi walks into the community center downtown. The one Chief Warren opened in Hope's name. The walls are covered with murals painted by local kids. Bright colors, big hearts. At the entrance, a plaque reads, "The Hope Initiative, because healing takes all of us." Naomi carries her daughter inside. The volunteers greet her with smiles. One of them, a young woman, asks, "You're Naomi, right?" "The Naomi?" Naomi laughs softly. "I'm just a mom trying to do something good." The girl points to the plaque. "You already did." Later that evening, Naomi sits in the park across from the center. Children play nearby. The air smells like summer rain, the same kind that started it all. She pulls Derek's letter from her bag and reads it one last time. Then she folds it carefully and places it in her journal. Marcus joins her, holding 2 cups of coffee. "You okay?" She smiles faintly. "I think so. For the first time, I think I really am." They sit together, watching the sunset. Hope sleeps quietly in her stroller. Naomi leans back and whispers, "The storm's finally over." But far away, in a quiet prison library, Derek writes another line in his notebook. "Some storms don't destroy you. They rebuild you." He closes the book and looks through the bars at the sky. The same sky Naomi watches from miles away. For the first time in years, they both see the same color in it. Peace. The sky is pale gray when Naomi steps out of the car. Wind whips through the open field, carrying the faint echo of gates closing somewhere far ahead. The sign above the building reads, "Greystone Correctional Facility." She stands still for a moment, holding the letter in her hand. Marcus's voice from earlier still lingers in her mind. You don't have to do this, but she does. She walks toward the entrance. Every step feels heavy, but her heartbeat stays steady, like she's walking toward closure, not confrontation. Inside, fluorescent lights buzz overhead. A guard at the front desk glances up. Name? Naomi Harris, she says quietly. The guard blinks, surprised. Visitor for inmate Derek Holt? Naomi nods. He hesitates, then presses a button. Take a seat, ma'am. You'll be called in a few minutes. She sits on a metal chair, letter folded in her lap. The waiting room smells like disinfectant and regret. A clock ticks too loudly on the wall. She closes her eyes, remembering the courtroom, the sirens, the storm. But this time, it doesn't hurt as much. A voice calls out, Harris, Naomi? She stands, smoothing her jacket. The guard leads her through a series of doors, each one clanging shut behind her. The sound echoes, heavy, final. They reach the visiting room. Gray walls, glass partition, 2 chairs, a single phone. Naomi takes a deep breath and sits. For a moment, it's just silence. Then, the other door opens. Derek walks in. He looks smaller than she remembers. No uniform, no authority, just a man in a plain jumpsuit, eyes shadowed but clearer. He hesitates before sitting down. When their eyes meet, neither speaks. He picks up the phone first. Naomi does the same. The glass between them feels like miles. Hi, he says finally. His voice cracks. Hi, she answers softly. He stares down, unable to hold her gaze for long. I didn't think you'd come. I didn't either, she admits. But I got your letter. His fingers tighten around the phone. I meant every word. I know. He looks up then, searching her face for anger or forgiveness, maybe both. I don't expect you to forgive me again, he says. I just needed to see you, to know you're okay. Naomi pauses. She studies him. The wrinkles, the exhaustion, the guilt that's become part of him. I am, she says. For the first time in a long time, I really am. He exhales, almost smiling. That's good. You deserve peace. So do you, she says quietly. He shakes his head. I don't. Naomi's voice softens. Then make peace mean something. Help others find it, even if you never do. He nods slowly. That's what I'm trying to do here. Mentoring inmates, reading, writing. It's not much, but it's something. She smiles faintly. Something's where it always starts. Silence fills the space again. The hum of the lights above. The faint clink of doors closing down the hall. Then Derek speaks. How's your daughter? Naomi's expression softens instantly. She's perfect. Her name's Hope. He nods, tears in his eyes. That's a beautiful name. She reminds me that even after everything, something pure can survive. He looks down, voice trembling. I don't deserve to know that, but I'm grateful you told me. Naomi looks through the glass, her reflection layered over his. For a moment, it almost looks like they're sitting in the same room. You were right in your letter, she says quietly. Some storms don't destroy us. They rebuild us. Derek's lips part, surprised. You read that part? She nods. It stayed with me. He closes his eyes. Thank you for not letting me be the last version of myself. The guard at the door taps his watch. Time's up. Naomi nods, but doesn't move yet. She holds Derek's gaze one last time. Take care of yourself, she says. I will, he replies. Then, softer, and thank you for showing me what forgiveness actually looks like. She stands, placing the phone down. He mirrors her movement. For a moment, they both touch the glass, her palm on one side, his on the other. 2 lives divided by choices, joined by consequence. Then she turns and walks away. The door shuts behind her. Outside, sunlight greets her. The air feels clearer, lighter. Marcus waits by the car, worried but patient. How was it? He asks. Naomi exhales, smiling faintly. It felt like closing a door that's been open too long. He nods. You okay? She looks at the sky, wide, endless, alive. Yeah, I think I'm finally free. They drive off slowly, leaving the prison behind. The fields stretch out in all directions, gold under the afternoon sun. Inside the car, baby Hope coos softly in her seat. Naomi reaches back, touching her tiny hand. See that sky? She whispers. It's yours now. Marcus glances at her. What are you thinking? Naomi smiles. That storms don't last forever. But the rain, it helps things grow. The car disappears into the horizon, and behind them, the prison fades into silence. A place that once held pain, now holding the start of change. It starts small. A conversation in a classroom. A new policy at the precinct. A workshop held on a Saturday morning. But small things grow. The Hope Initiative has only been open 2 months, yet already the line outside stretches down the block. People come for counseling, for training, for forgiveness, for something better than anger. Naomi stands at the front door, baby Hope in her arms. The morning sun glows on the mural painted across the wall. From pain comes purpose. Inside, laughter echoes where silence once lived. A young officer sits beside a teenager he once arrested. They talk, not about crime, but about music. Both smile. Naomi watches from across the room. She doesn't interrupt. She just lets it happen. Chief Warren walks in carrying a box of folders. Another round of volunteers, he says. He sets them down and wipes his brow. Didn't think I'd ever see the day cops would line up to take empathy training. Naomi smiles. People surprise you when you give them a reason to. He chuckles. You're starting to sound like me. She laughs softly. No, Chief. I think you're starting to sound like me. They both grin. An unspoken peace between generations. Across town, the mayor gives a press conference. Cameras flash, reporters buzz. This city, she says, has faced its darkness and decided to walk toward the light. The Hope Initiative is now part of our official community program. Every new police recruit will train here before joining the force. Applause erupts. It isn't politics this time, it's gratitude. On every screen, Naomi's face appears beside the announcement, holding her daughter, smiling softly. The caption reads, "One woman's pain became a city's promise." At the community center, Naomi meets with a group of high school students. They sit in a circle, notebooks open, curious eyes watching her. A girl raises her hand. Mrs. Harris, do you ever wish that day never happened? Naomi pauses. The room goes quiet. She looks down at her daughter, asleep in a stroller nearby. Yes, she says honestly, every day. But if it hadn't, maybe we wouldn't be here right now, trying to make sure it never happens again. The girl nods slowly. Do you think people can really change? Naomi smiles faintly. I think people don't change. They remember. And remembering is how healing starts. The room stays silent for a moment. Then one by one, the students start writing. Their pens move fast. Hope spreads like ink. Meanwhile, miles away in Greystone Prison, Derek continues his new role in the library. He stacks books, mentors others, writes letters for inmates who can't spell. He hasn't heard from Naomi again. He doesn't expect to. But he carries her words like a mantra. Make peace mean something. One day, the warden approaches. Holt, he says, we're expanding your program. You'll be teaching new officers about accountability and bias through the fence. From here. Derek blinks. From here? The warden nods. They need to hear it from someone who knows both sides. Derek looks at the row of men sitting at the tables, listening, waiting. He smiles faintly. Then let's get to work. He opens a folder labeled Hope Initiative, Inmate Outreach. On the cover, there's a photo of Naomi holding her daughter. He stares at it for a moment. Then he starts to write the first lesson. Back in the city, Naomi and Marcus take Hope for her first walk in the park. The sky is bright, trees swaying gently in the wind. People recognize her as she passes. Some nod, others stop to say thank you. Naomi smiles politely each time, but she never lets it feel like fame. It's just community. The same people who once marched for her now walking beside her. They stop by a playground where children laugh freely. Marcus lifts Hope into his arms, pointing toward the swings. She'll be running here before we know it, he says. Naomi laughs. Let's just master crawling first. They sit on a bench. Birds chirp, kids chase bubbles, and for a moment everything feels normal. Naomi leans her head on Marcus's shoulder. Do you ever think about how far we've come? She whispers. He smiles. Every single day. That evening, the community center hosts its first anniversary celebration. The room is full. Music plays softly, candles flicker on the tables. Naomi stands on stage, microphone in hand. Tonight isn't about me, she begins. It's about what we chose to do after everything fell apart. She glances at Chief Warren, at the students, at the families who once stood in protest. Every person in this room decided that silence wasn't good enough. You decided to listen, to learn, to grow. Applause fills the air. Naomi smiles, holding back tears. Hope isn't just her name, she says, looking at her daughter in the crowd. It's the reason we're all still standing. Later that night, when the lights dim and the crowd leaves, Naomi locks up the center. She walks through the empty hallway, her footsteps soft against the floor. She stops by the mural again. From pain comes purpose. She touches the wall lightly, whispering, "We did it." Outside, the city hums, no longer restless, no longer divided, just alive. And as Naomi carries Hope to the car, the baby's small hand reaches up toward the night sky, fingers grasping at the stars like she already knows she's part of something bigger. Naomi smiles, whispering, "Yes, sweetheart, that's where it all began." 5 years later, the city looks different, cleaner, calmer, brighter. Murals of hope cover old brick walls, a baby's face, a mother's smile, a phrase underneath, "Change began here." Naomi walks down the same street where everything once fell apart. She's holding a small hand now. Hope, 5 years old, skips beside her, curls bouncing in the wind. "Mommy, that's me," she giggles, pointing at a mural. Naomi laughs. "Yes, it is. You've been famous since you were born." Hope squints at the picture. "Why am I on a wall?" Naomi kneels down. "Because you remind people that things can get better." The little girl tilts her head. "Even bad people?" Naomi smiles softly. "Especially them." Across town, the Hope Initiative building has doubled in size. Its new banner reads, "Empathy is strength." Inside, young officers take part in training sessions. Some watch real courtroom footage from the case that changed the city. Others sit in circles, listening to community members share stories. No one interrupts. They just listen. Chief Warren, older now, watches from the back. He leans on his cane and smiles faintly. He turns to a journalist beside him. 5 years ago, this place didn't exist, he says. Now it's saving lives." The journalist nods. "And the woman who started it?" Warren chuckles. "She didn't just start it, she became it." At home, Naomi cooks dinner while Hope draws on the kitchen floor. Marcus hums softly, setting the table. The television plays quietly in the background. A news segment. Next up, the Hope Initiative expands nationally, with new centers opening in Chicago, Atlanta, and Seattle. Founder Naomi Harris will attend tomorrow's ribbon-cutting ceremony. Marcus glances over. "You're changing the whole country now." Naomi stirs the pot, smiling. "I'm not changing anything. People are just finally paying attention." Hope looks up from her drawing. "Can I come to the new place too?" Naomi kneels beside her. "Maybe when you're older. Right now you've got kindergarten." Hope pouts. "But I want to help." Naomi kisses her forehead. "You already do, baby. You help just by being here." That night, after Hope falls asleep, Naomi sits by the window. The moonlight spills across the journal on her lap. She flips to the first page, the same one where she once wrote, "Justice begins where fear ends." She writes another line beneath it, and hope begins where justice learns to listen. Marcus joins her with 2 cups of tea. "Still writing?" he teases. Naomi smiles. "Still remembering." He looks at her softly. "You ever think about him?" She nods slowly. "Sometimes." "Not with anger anymore, just understanding." Marcus leans back. "They say he's teaching still. The prison program's grown a lot." Naomi exhales. "Good. That's what change should look like, not revenge, but reflection." Meanwhile, in that same prison library, Derek Holt now stands at a chalkboard. In front of him sits a class of new inmates, listening. "Empathy," he says, writing the word in large letters. "It's not weakness, it's perspective." A young man raises his hand. "Where'd you learn that?" Derek pauses, looking out the small window at the orange sunset beyond the fence. "From the woman who taught me what forgiveness actually means." The class stays silent, watching him. He continues, voice firm but calm. "We don't get to rewrite what we did, but we do get to choose what we become after it." Later, alone, he sits at his desk and opens an old letter, the one Naomi sent months ago, thanking him for teaching inside the program. He runs a finger over her signature. Then he looks up and whispers, "We're both still learning." Back in the city the next morning, Naomi stands before a large crowd at the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Hope sits in the front row beside Marcus, swinging her legs, wearing a tiny white dress. Naomi takes the microphone. "This center isn't about me," she says. "It's about everyone who refused to let one act of hate define who we are." She pauses, scanning the faces. Students, officers, parents. 5 years ago, I thought justice was the end of a story. But it's not. It's the beginning. Applause fills the air. Naomi cuts the ribbon, cameras flash, and the crowd cheers. Hope jumps up, running to her mother. Naomi lifts her high into the air. "You did it, Mommy!" she shouts. Naomi laughs through tears. "No, sweetheart, we did it." That evening, as the sun sets, Naomi and Marcus walk home with Hope between them. The little girl hums a song she made up. Soft, cheerful, innocent. Naomi glances back once, at the new center glowing behind them, at the crowd still taking pictures in front of the sign. For the first time, she doesn't feel like she's looking back at pain. She's looking at progress. They reach their street, the same corner where it all began. The grocery store still standing, the pavement clean. Hope stops suddenly. "Mommy, is this the place from the story?" Naomi kneels beside her. "Yes," she whispers. "But it's not that place anymore." Hope frowns. "Why not?" Naomi smiles. "Because we changed it." The girl smiles too. Then, holding her mother's hand, she looks up at the sky and says, "Can we change the whole world, Mommy?" Naomi glances at Marcus, then back at her daughter. Her voice is soft but certain. "We already started." They walk on, hand in hand, beneath the fading light. Three silhouettes carrying a legacy born from pain, rebuilt with love, and carried by hope. 10 years pass in the blink of an eye. The city no longer whispers Naomi's name with shock. It says it with gratitude. Her story has become part of its heartbeat. The Hope Initiative isn't one building anymore. It's a network, a movement. There's one in every major city. Classrooms filled with young people learning not just laws but empathy. And at the center of it all, Naomi Harris. Older now. Wiser. Lines trace her face, not from pain but from purpose. She stands in front of a crowd at a college auditorium. Her voice carries through the hall, calm but powerful. "Justice isn't a destination," she says. "It's a practice, something we do every day, even when no one's watching." Students nod, recording on their phones, inspired. One of them raises a hand. "Mrs. Harris," he asks, "do you ever get tired of telling your story?" Naomi smiles faintly. "Only when I forget how many people still need to hear it." After the talk, she steps outside, pulling her coat tight against the cold. Hope waits by the car. 16 now. Tall, confident, her mother's eyes and her father's calm. "How was it?" she asks. Naomi laughs softly. "You mean how many people cried?" Hope grins. "You always make them cry, Mom." They drive through the city together. Billboards flash with images of Hope Initiative projects, police working with youth, schools rebuilding trust. Naomi watches quietly as her daughter scrolls through messages on her phone. "Everyone's tagging you again," Hope says. "You went viral again." Naomi sighs. "That's not the point." Hope looks at her. "Then what is?" Naomi smiles softly, making sure one day we don't need stories like mine anymore. Back home, the house is filled with photos, marches, speeches, the early days of the center, but one frame stands out on the mantle, a picture of baby Hope on Naomi's chest the day she was born. Beside it, a faded letter, Derek's letter. Naomi still keeps it close, not as a reminder of pain, but as proof of change. Hope notices it as they unpack groceries. "Mom, why do you still have that?" Naomi pauses. "Because it reminds me that people can grow even when the world stops believing they can." Hope frowns. "He hurt you." Naomi nods. "Yes, but if I only held on to the hurt, I'd still be living in that moment. I chose to move forward." Hope doesn't answer, but she listens. Really listens. Later that night, Naomi receives a call. An unfamiliar number. She hesitates, then answers. "Mrs. Harris?" a man's voice says. "This is Warden Ellis from Greystone Correctional. I thought you'd want to know. Derek Holt was granted parole today." Naomi's heart stills. "He's getting out?" "Yes, ma'am. After 15 years. He's been working with our reform programs, helping inmates re-enter society. He mentioned you, said he wouldn't be here without what he learned from your forgiveness." Naomi closes her eyes. "Thank you for telling me." She hangs up slowly, lost in thought. The next morning, she tells Marcus over breakfast. He sets down his coffee. "You okay?" "I think so," she says. "It's strange. Hearing his name again after all this time." Marcus nods. "You gave him a second life. I guess now he gets to live it." Naomi looks out the window. "Maybe we both do." Weeks later, Naomi attends a memorial event at the original Hope Initiative Center. She walks the halls quietly, touching old photos on the wall. One shows her giving her first speech, baby Hope on her hip. Another, a group of officers graduating from empathy training. A man approaches from the doorway, gray hair, worn face, but kind eyes. "Mrs. Harris?" Naomi turns. It takes her a moment to recognize him. Derek Holt. He's thinner now, older. No uniform, no badge, just a man in a plain gray suit holding a folder under his arm. She doesn't flinch. He doesn't look away. "Hello, Derek." He nods once. "Thank you for letting me come. I didn't want to cause trouble." "You're not," she says quietly. "You're part of the story, whether we like it or not." He smiles faintly. "You turned that story into something bigger than both of us." Naomi studies him for a long moment. "Did you find peace?" He hesitates. "I found work. I think peace comes later." Naomi nods. "Then keep working." He hands her the folder. "Lesson plans," he says, "for the re-entry program. I'd like to teach under the Hope Initiative banner, if you'll allow it." Naomi opens it. The pages are neat, handwritten. Empathy. Accountability. Redemption. She looks up. "Yes," she says softly. "You should." He exhales, relieved. "Thank you." They shake hands. It's not forgiveness this time, it's respect. The kind that only time can earn. That night, Naomi drives home in silence. Hope waits up, sitting on the couch with homework in her lap. "How was it?" Naomi sits beside her, smiling. "Full circle." Hope tilts her head. "What does that mean?" Naomi takes her hand. "It means everything we do eventually comes back, good or bad. But if we're lucky, it comes back healed." Hope nods slowly, understanding more than she says. They sit together, mother and daughter, the city lights flickering outside their window. The same city that once broke, now breathing in harmony. And as Naomi closes her eyes, she hears the faint echo of her past self whispering, "The storm's finally over." This time, she believes it. 25 years later, the city has changed again. Skyscrapers touch the clouds. Electric cars hum through clean streets. But one thing remains. The Hope Initiative. It's no longer just a program, it's a legacy. A worldwide movement. The camera pans across the front of the original building, now a memorial museum. Photos line the glass walls. Naomi Harris, Marcus, a little girl once known as Baby Hope. Inside, a woman stands before a crowd. Hope Harris, grown now, 25, composed and radiant. Her voice carries the same calm power her mother once had. "My mother believed that justice doesn't end in the courtroom," she says. "She believed it begins in the heart, in the choices we make when no one's watching." Applause fills the room. Flashes of cameras, faces full of emotion. Hope continues. "She didn't just teach us how to fight, she taught us how to forgive." Her eyes glisten as she looks toward the front row, a framed photo of Naomi smiling, hands folded over the same notebook she always wrote in. Outside the museum, the city square is alive. Statues and murals dedicated to Naomi stand tall among trees. Children play nearby, laughing, unaware that the ground beneath them once carried tears and protests. Hope steps outside after her speech. She takes a deep breath. The air feels lighter than history. Marcus, older now, waits by the stairs. His hair is white, but his smile still carries warmth. "You did great," he says. Hope hugs him tightly. "I just tried to sound like her." He laughs softly. "You sounded exactly like her." They walk together toward a memorial fountain at the center of the square. Water flows gently over engraved words. From pain came purpose. From purpose came hope. Hope kneels beside it, touching the stone. "She'd have loved this," she whispers. Marcus nods. "She saw it once, before she passed, said the city finally looked the way it was always meant to." Hope's eyes soften. "I miss her every day." "I know." he says quietly. But she never really left. Later that evening, Hope returns to the old family house. It's smaller now, quieter. Dust floats through soft beams of sunset light. She walks into Naomi's study. The same desk, the same journal. A thin layer of dust covers the cover. She opens it carefully. The first line still reads, "Justice begins where fear ends." She flips through the pages, notes, speeches, reflections. Then, near the end, she finds something new. Handwriting slightly shakier, older. "If you're reading this, Hope, then I know you kept walking forward. Don't spend your life fighting what's broken. Build what's better. Remember, forgiveness isn't weakness. It's the strength to choose peace when you've earned the right to rage. I love you. Mom." Hope closes the journal, pressing it to her heart. Tears fall, but she smiles through them. Outside, the world hums with quiet unity. The Hope Initiative centers across the globe broadcast a live feed. Hope Harris speaking to millions, carrying her mother's words into a new age. She steps up to the podium again, the journal in her hand. "My mother didn't just change a city," she says. "She showed the world what healing looks like." She pauses, eyes bright under the lights. "When I was little, I asked her if we could change the whole world. She told me we already started." The audience stands. Applause roars. Some cry. Some simply close their eyes and breathe. Hope opens the journal, reading her mother's final line aloud. "And hope begins where justice learns to listen." The words echo through the hall like a promise. After the event, Hope drives through the city at night. Streetlights flicker over her car window. She passes the old grocery store, now a cafe called Naomi's Corner. People sit inside laughing, eating, unaware that once, the world stopped there. Hope parks nearby and walks to the exact spot where it all began. She stands in silence, looking down at the pavement. A plaque glints under the streetlight. Site of the Naomi Harris incident, the day a city began to heal. Hope whispers, "It wasn't just the city, Mom. It was the